was always the person who wouldn't go on a girls' trip or wouldn't buy myself the face
Mm,
serum because I can't spend that money. I would feel guilty if I did. I shouldn't be spending that. I should be saving that. And so I had
yep,
guilt and shame around spending money on myself. And I'm not saying that I didn't, because by all means I did. I just probably spent $10 on 10 things instead of $100 on one thing because I could justify
sure.
10 things at $10 10 different times. Oh, it's only $10. No.
Hmm.
So anyway, so I now had this money and I'm sitting there with this little packet of this face serum and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. I wish I could use this. This is a free sample. Like I could never spend this much money. And then all of a sudden, like this light bulb goes off and I'm like, excuse me, I have the money. The money is sitting in
Hmm.
an account because I have my me money and I haven't spent it. And I'm like, I am gonna buy this. So I went and I bought the whole entire thing. Not just the serum. I bought the day, the night, all the in between. Like I have the whole entire thing. Money that I never in a million years would have spent on myself. But I'll tell you what, my face
Wow.
feels amazing.
Hello and welcome to the Field Podcast. I'm here with a new friend today. Thanks to our good friends at Podmatch, they find the most amazing connections. The network of women I have built over the last 4.5 years, I would say 70% of that has come in from my connections at Podmatch. So I've got another great one for you today. Linda Grizely is here with me today. She describes herself as a truth teller, empowering, compassionate, grounded, and reflective. Linda, welcome to the Feel Podcast.
Thanks, Melissa. It's great to be here. And I'm so glad that Podmatch matched us.
I am too. I am too. They do a great job. And I'm always able to give such useful, helpful, relatable resources. And that is a peek into what your story is. And it's not a new topic here on my platform, but a very necessary topic that we continue to have and provide a variety of language and resources around, because not everybody connects with everybody that offers one thing. So we want to give a variety so we can all, because I say all the time, women welcoming other women into these topics is so important, because not one of us can reach everybody, but one of us can reach some. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You work in the world of finance, you help women with this. We're going to talk about your story and how you got on this track and what has informed that. And also, especially as we get into the talking point about emotional, mental, physical, spiritual health, financial health is a piece of that. It impacts that. And it's going to be, it contributes to so much of our stress. It can also contribute to our joy. It can contribute to our fear. It can contribute to our freedom. There's so many facets to it. But I want to start at the beginning with your self-care practices over the years, what that has meant to you. And also, I don't think we don't talk about enough financial wellness, financial understanding is part of that. It's part of our self-care. So share with us your journey with this.
Well, first, let me say that I am horrible at self care. I still am, as far as that part goes. But I do try. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm really great at helping other people get there. um,
I can relate to that.
really great at making other people. I just need to start listening to my own advice. Money wise, though, I mean, I do take my own advice, and I do follow that. Like that's the main thing that I do. Um,
Hmm.
as far as self care goes, is really take care of myself financially and making sure that I'm doing all the right things. And I think that it took me a long time to get here. Like I'm
Mm.
in the financial services field now, and I've been in that field for about 7 years. But before that, um, I didn't really understand money and financial wellness, and I did a lot of things right, but I also did a lot of things wrong.
Mm.
And I was good with money to the sense that I didn't run up debt, but I wasn't good with money in the sense that I didn't save properly. So
Mm.
I'm behind, right? And
Hmm.
I think that now we have a platform through all the social media, the internet, everything to get the message out there to people that are still struggling with that and still figuring it
Yeah.
out. They feel like they're behind, they feel like they should know more. And that's really what my message is. Like, let's get you financially well. Let's get you not feeling behind. Let's get you like you know more and you understand and you're confident, right? You want to feel confident with money and good about how you spend it, good about how you use it. And that's my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that is, you said something I think is so important. There's so many facets to this. The debt piece is one of it, but the savings piece. And I think that we don't, when we're younger, we're like, oh, I've got time, I've got time. And then all of a sudden, oh, I don't have so much time. I mean, my husband and I are, you know, he's 7 years away from retirement. My work's a little different. I don't know if I'll ever fully retire from it because of the kind of work I do, but he works in a specific field in an area. And this was this way when our kids went to college too. We thought we had all this time, and then all of a sudden, we had college savings. But because of when we started it, and also because of the change in cost since our kids were born, the fund got the kids. We got about halfway through with our second daughter of 3, and by the time our third daughter came along, there wasn't much left. And so, obviously, I think the thing about savings is that it's, and what we've seen our kids do now, our 3 daughters, is they might only put away $5 a week, but it's something. And and so it's like, it doesn't have to be, I think we thought with savings, it had to be this big dramatic amount and that was going to take away. But actually, just start with something that feels doable, and then you can build from there. And then you learn to live without that little piece at the beginning. At least that's what we've learned about it. Would you say that's kind of an accurate assessment of that, or how would you experience it?
Yeah, I think that's, obviously saving early, investing early, saving early, is key, and that's the part that most of us, Gen Xers missed,
Yeah.
is that saving early. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of us did.
Yep.
And, we got right into, raising kids, living paycheck to paycheck, and then a lot of us are taking care of parents now, which might also be costing us
Hmm.
money depending on the situation, but
Yeah.
there's just so much, and I think that sometimes it's overwhelming and it causes people to avoid it and not even think about it because they
Mm.
think, well, I'm not going to be successful anyway. In other words, I'm not going to ever be able to retire anyway, so why bother looking at it?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times there's peace of mind in knowing what your financial situation is, even if you know the outlook isn't great. At least you know how much not great it is and what you might need to do to improve it, even though you might not want to hear that. But there
Hmm.
is some sort of satisfaction and peace of mind in just knowing instead of guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know, then it allows you to put a plan in place. I mean, I think too that's part of it. When we talk a lot about healthy boundaries here. Healthy boundaries around finances is one of those things that come into play. What have you learned about that, and how do you help women with that now?
I think one of the biggest boundaries that I have is, well, my me money method, which is it's basically setting aside money that is the money that you spend on yourself.
Yeah.
So it's the money that you spend on things that are discretionary, like that you don't have to have. And if you're in a partnership or a marriage, then it's the things that you spend only on yourself that doesn't give any benefit to the other person, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
setting aside this money called me money gives you a boundary so that you are living within the means just of that. And it takes
Mm.
out all the noise of all the other responsibilities so that you're not looking at a whole budget or everything all at once. It really simplifies it. And it allows you to put a boundary around just that and say, okay, I'm going to give myself this much money per month that I'm allowed to spend. Now I can
Yeah.
save it so that I have more to spend later. Or if I spend it now, then I know that I won't have something extra to do later. Right.
Hmm.
And the the way that I came about this me money method was actually because I put my husband on a budget. Now, we are a blended marriage. We got married older,
Mm.
later in life. And so we both had jobs, we both had kids, we both had careers, like it, and we combined our money, but we didn't really answer to each other. Like we just did whatever we
Mm.
wanted to do. But I handled the
Mhm.
money and I knew how much money he was spending. And I could tell that he had no idea how much he was spending because I would say something like, he goes on fishing trips and golfing trips, and I'd be like, okay, like you're spending. He's like, oh, it's not that much. We get the guys together, we split something, blah, blah, blah. And then he would see, like, when we would go on vacation, he'd be like, wow, that was a lot because we would plop down like an all inclusive trip, like, bam, everything is there all at once. And I'm
Yeah.
like, your golf trips and your fishing trips are not that much less. Like you add it all together. Like you add in like all your fishing supplies, your boat, there's storage for your boat, your gas for your boat, your insurance for your boat, the trailer for the boat. Like you add in all the gas to get there, all these other things, and it adds up more than
Mhm.
you would think it would. So I gave him this money and I was like, you have to live within the means of this money. Now I knew what he was spending, so I knew that it wouldn't be a huge stretch, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna be okay. But I just want him
Right.
to see, my whole point is to see the amount of money that he's spending, not to be restrictive or
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah.
I checked back in with him a couple months in and I said, how do you feel? Do you feel like I'm controlling you? Do you feel like it's restrictive? Because that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, no, I'm just making better choices. And I was like,
Mm.
ooh, tell me more because this is even better than what I was hoping for. I just wanted him to understand.
Yeah.
And now he's telling me he's making better
Yeah.
choices. So, he says, I saw a golf shirt that I wanted and I didn't buy the shirt because I knew if I bought the shirt, then I wouldn't have that much money to add towards my golf trip later. He's like, I'd rather go on the golf trip and
Mm.
I already have hundreds of golf shirts. So,
Right.
and I said, do you feel bad? Do you still want to go get the shirt? And he's like, no, I didn't need it. I don't, it's no big deal. So, he was just like, yeah, nothing, water off the duck's back that I didn't get this shirt. I said, but if you didn't have the me money, and I wasn't even calling it me money then. If you didn't have that money
Yeah.
set aside, would you have done both? He said, yeah, I would have done both. So he would have bought the shirt and he would have
Mm.
gone on the trip. Like so he's making better choices. He's spending better, but he's not regretting that he didn't get this shirt. So then
Right.
if you flip the script here to me and my money story that I was telling myself, right? When I put him on the budget, he had me put myself on the same budget. Fair enough, right?
Mhm.
Same
Yeah.
household, same lifestyle, so I get the same exact amount. Now, I was always the person who wouldn't go on a girls' trip or wouldn't buy myself the face
Mm.
serum because I can't spend that money. I would feel guilty if I did. I shouldn't be spending that. I should be saving that. And so I had
Yep.
guilt and shame around spending money on myself. And I'm not saying that I didn't because by all means I did. I just probably spent $10 on 10 things instead of $100 on one thing because I could justify
Sure.
10 things at $10 10 different times. Oh, it's only $10, no.
Mhm.
So anyway, so I now had this money and I'm sitting there with this little packet of this face serum and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. I wish I could use this. This is a free sample. Like I could never spend this much money. And then all of a sudden, like this light bulb goes off and I'm like, excuse me, I have the money. The money is sitting in
Mhm.
an account because I have my me money and I haven't spent it. And I'm like, I am gonna buy this. So I went and I bought the whole entire thing. Not just the serum. I bought the day, the night, all the in between. Like I have the whole entire thing. Money that I never in a million years would have spent on myself. But I'll tell you what, my face
Wow.
feels amazing. So, and I'm
Yeah.
like, gosh, but it's funny because like I don't it just allowed me to do that. And I'm not
Mhm.
spending more necessarily than I would have because remember, I'm just choosing what I'm spending the money on better now. I am also making better choices.
Mhm.
And then here is the other thing. So I did not expect him to make better choices. I just wanted him to be aware. I did not
Mhm.
expect me to have this release of shame and guilt. And
Mm.
what else I didn't expect is that it eliminated uh the rift between partners in the sense
Yeah.
that, you bought a pair of shoes that was a ridiculous amount of money to spend for a pair of shoes or a fishing pole or whatever it is, because you don't have to answer. We get the same amount of money. You spend what you
Yeah.
want, I'll spend what I want. And I didn't have the animosity of like, he goes on fishing and golf trips and I'm never going on a girls' trip. Like, he thinks he can do all this,
Mm,
but I know what our financial situation's like and I'm not going. Now I'm like, no, if I want to go, I'm going to save my money and I'm going to go. And so
yeah,
it also relieved that. And I'm like, it did all these awesome things. So
yeah,
that's when I started implementing it with my clients and finding that they too had the same sort of success with themselves, no matter what their money personality was, because it just gave intention to this one little piece. It was really amazing. Sorry, I'm talking on forever about it,
Oh no,
but
I'm so glad you shared all that. There's so many things that it impacted, and it goes nicely into the next talking point of our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, all those pieces. This choice, the impact it had, like taking away the shame, taking away the fear, taking away the guilt, taking away the animosity that you might feel towards a partner for doing things that you don't think you have the money to do. Because we as women are notorious for, and I talk about this in a couple of episodes ago that I released in a solo episode, for thinking that we have to leave ourselves last, don't invest in yourself, when actually investing in ourselves is what allows us to show up as our healthiest, most authentic self. So there's all these narratives that we start hearing when we're very young about what it's okay and not okay to do, what's selfish and what isn't, all this stuff that we have to unpack and relearn and unlearn later. This Me Money plan just touched on so many of those things that have impacts on these different parts of our health. So I can only imagine. I mean, you saw and were surprised how it impacted your own situation, and then to be able to take that to clients and have them see that broader effect, because we underestimate again these decisions we make about finances and stories we tell ourselves and the lack of choice we think we have, and like, no, really, we have more choices than we realize we do. um all impacts our mental, emotional, physical health.
yeah, absolutely.
And what are some of the biggest surprises that you've run into with clients on this?
Well, the biggest surprise is I don't know what the biggest surprise is. I think the biggest thing is that it works for almost everybody because everybody has a money
Hmm.
personality. I think the biggest
Okay.
surprise is that the the awareness that it gives without restriction, and it's
Mm.
people saying like, you know, I I'm finally understanding how I'm spending my money
Hmm.
and how I'm making my choices, right? And it's because it's such a
Yeah.
simple thing, but it puts intention to there's thought that goes into every purchase, right? Which wasn't
Hmm.
there before. And
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, sometimes it's hard, like, because some of my clients just come to me by themselves without their spouse. A lot of them
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part is when they are on board with it and then they're trying to convince their spouse to do it. And it all depends on the dynamics in the relationship. So that can be a
Yeah.
challenge. But generally speaking, I mean, everybody has had good results with it, whether they did it on their
Yeah.
own or whether they had their spouse do it or their spouse was able to come on board and do it as well. But I've had people use it for other things too. So, for instance, I had one couple who their main point wasn't what they spent on themselves, but it was on the money they were spending on the vacations. Whereas the husband
Mm.
said, "Oh my gosh, we spent this much money on vacations last year. Like that's a ridiculous amount of money." And the wife was like, "Well, I don't know what the right amount of money is. Like, how do I know what I'm
Oh,
supposed to spend? Like, we don't
sure.
have a budget, we don't have any guidelines, but I do all this and we go on these great vacations. And then you're like, oh my God, we spent this much, but you love the vacation." And so I said,
Hmm.
okay, well, let's just, without going into everything, let's just start a vacation account. And
Yeah.
you guys decide together, I'll help you collaborate to figure out how much money is a reasonable amount to spend on any year on vacations. And then the wife who does the planning has the bucket, knows how much is in it, has the account, and can just book whatever vacations you want, do whatever you want with this amount, and then if it's gone, it's gone, and then you're done with
Mm-hmm.
vacations for the year. And they were like, "Yeah, that absolutely makes sense." So it's the same type of strategy, just for something that
Yeah.
was an area of contention for them, and it worked for them because
Yeah.
now she knew what number was right because, she was hearing what number was wrong after, but she never had a guideline.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And this just gives you, it gives you a roadmap to be informed. And I think when you have that, you talked about already, you're more thoughtful, you make decisions, you think things through. It's just not willy nilly. You talk about a lot too in your work about emotional decisions around money. Talk to me about where that comes into play, because I think this is a big one.
It is a really big one, and if I say the word money, you immediately feel an emotion.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that every time you spend money or earn money or do anything with money that you aren't feeling
Mm-hmm.
something. There is so
Mm-hmm.
much emotion around it. And it can be a powerful emotion. If I say money, you might think power, like I have money, I have power. It could be like
Mm-hmm.
money, like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed about money. And it can be different day to day. It can be different in the
Yeah.
morning than the evening, right? I could say the same
Mm-hmm.
word money to you in the morning and you could think, yeah, I'm going to earn a bunch of money today. And by the end of the day, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I got a phone call today that like I realized that I owed this bill that I forgot I had. And now money is like tragic. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so much emotion. And I think the one thing that I have people do, which anybody can do super easily, is just start to recognize their feelings about money. So if you open
Mm-hmm.
up your bank account to pay your bills, like if you have a time when you sit down and do bills, what are you feeling? Are you feeling
Mm-hmm.
anxiety over it? Are you feeling accomplishment? Like I'm getting this done, I'm being responsible. Are you feeling like, wow, there's a lot more going out than there is coming in, and this is scary? There's so
Mm-hmm.
many different types of emotions that you can feel. And
Yeah.
I just want people to start paying attention to that. When you're at the
Mm.
store and the grocery bill, that's always a good one, right? You're bringing up all the groceries and they're like, it's, $300, and you're like, I have like 15 items in there. Like, how did it get to be
Yeah.
$300? Like, how do you feel in that moment? And are
Mm.
you feeling like, wow, I'm really grateful that that I earn money that I can put food on my table and that I'm able to buy
Mhm.
this food for my family? Or are you
Yeah.
feeling like, okay, I shouldn't have spent that much. I'm feeling really guilty. I should pay more attention.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that any feeling is wrong. I'm just saying be aware.
Yeah. Yeah. That paying attention to thing, I think so many times because if it feels uncomfortable, we'll stuff it. And then we wonder why we're stressed or irritated or and I mean you nailed it on the head. I mean you say money to people and immediately depending on what's happening they something comes up within you. You have some kind of a response to it. And there's so much I think there's so much power in awareness and knowing what you have and operating intentionally when you're shopping, when you're planning trips, when you're paying for activities for your kids, with all there's so many factors that go into it. But that awareness piece, don't ignore that and getting curious about it rather than judgmental, because so many times we have so much shame and fear and remorse and what okay so where's that coming from? What kind of idea about money was I raised with? We're so impacted by what we saw. I mean, my husband and I came in, and our parents had very different approaches to money, neither one of them healthy. So we knew we wanted to do it differently, but we didn't really know how. So it's kind of been a learn as we go. We've done it far from perfectly, but there's an awareness there and a communication there that happens. It doesn't mean there's not fear, but we've learned over time, if I know what I have, then I know what I have and I can plan from that. If I just close my eyes and go la 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 la, then that doesn't relieve any stress by avoiding it. But yeah, the emotions piece, thank you, that's so helpful. I talk this next talking point is talking about women showing up unapologetically for themselves and for others. One of the things we have so much guilt around, shame around, we apologize for regard is around finances and money and what we do or don't know, what we do or don't do with it. Your resources just lay out such a great framework, roadmap to follow, simple questions to ask to keep you aware and alert and informed. You have a podcast. I mean, you have this me money resource. When did you decide it was time to add those things to what you were already doing? Because this has really enabled you to show up, what I feel like, unapologetically for yourself in your relationship with what you've created. But there a turning point where, like, there's more I can do here than what I'm already doing, and I can offer and share from what I've learned from my own lived experience.
Yeah, the turning point was when I left my corporate job and didn't know what I was gonna do next. And I was
Mm,
trying to figure out, like, you know, I I was being a financial advisor and planner, I was trying to figure out where I could go that I could have flexibility on my own time and plug in somewhere or start my own, business again doing planning, but every time I looked at it, I thought, like, it just didn't feel right, and I realized that it was
mm,
because in order to make the amount of money that I need to make to survive myself in the lifestyle that I want, I needed to look for high net worth clients or charge a higher fee. And the people that I
mm,
wanted to serve, which were all the previous versions of me who wouldn't have been able to
mhm.
afford a financial planner and didn't have assets to give them to manage, like,
Yeah.
how am I going to serve them? And so that's when I decided to focus on speaking and spreading the word and teaching and empowering people, women and anyone, because honestly, a lot of men feel this way too,
Yeah.
empowering them and teaching them about money. At the same time, I offer coaching at a lower price range than I might if I was a high net worth financial planner, right?
Mm.
So I'm able to offer that and do those two things with speaking as a source of income as well.
And I think that's such an important piece because we all have a story that connects us. And when we have that story that connects us, it helps us connect people that, oh, that's relatable. I can connect with that. She understands what I'm going through.
Yeah.
She's, I think there's such a powerful piece to that too. And I find it, I don't know if you find this, I find in the people I've talked to about this, many times women want to talk to other women financial advisors. Do you find that is something you run into?
I do, and it's mainly because men and, nothing wrong with men in this sense, but most men don't know how to talk to women about money
Yeah,
because they don't understand the feelings that we have about money. And that's the
yeah,
main thing. They're not women might feel like they're talked down to, and they may be or they may not be, but they feel that way, and
sure.
that's what matters. But
Yeah,
women a lot of times feel like they're insecure, they don't they don't know anything. So they feel already
mm,
beneath the person that they're talking to about their finances. And
yeah,
when you're working with another woman, and this is my goal, um, I'm very compassionate and I meet them where they are.
mm,
I meet them where they are because it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it matters in some sense, but it doesn't matter to me what's happened in the past, right?
yeah,
They're overwhelmed, they're undersupported, they're carrying old stories, they might have made mistakes, everybody does. But if they're
yeah,
showing up and they're saying like, "Hey, I want some help with my money." Perfect. Let's do it. Let's figure out where you
yeah,
are, where you want to go, and how do we get you there?
yeah,
Old stuff under the rug, right? If there's old
yeah,
stuff we need to clean up, we're going to clean it up, but that's part of moving forward. We're not going to dwell
yeah,
on the past. How did we get here? With one minor thing, we need to make sure that whatever habits, if we are in a bad situation, whatever habits got us there,
mm,
we're working on improving those habits. Again,
right.
it's moving forward, not staying in the past.
Yeah, yeah, really good. Thank you so much. Talk to me. I don't think we realize this as much too. How much our values impact how we spend money, and how much paying attention to that, I think, sometimes can really guide that. Do you find that to be the case?
Absolutely. I mean, okay, so take the me money thing, going back to that. Like you have money set aside for
Yeah,
yourself. And you hear all these things now, oh, don't buy Starbucks, the latte factor and all this stuff about, oh, yes, you're spending too much money on coffee. But you know what? If getting a coffee helps me start off my day and feel calm and secure and whatever, Don't
Hmm.
take my coffee away from me. Just let me decide that that's what I'm going to spend it on. If that's
Right.
what I want to, stop telling me to be ashamed of myself because I bought coffee.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's such a great basic example that we can all relate to is, as you're thinking about your values and your why, and also if somebody's asking you to spend money on something and you don't feel good about it, but you don't want to just, because we get caught in the trap as women. I don't want to disappoint somebody. I don't want to tell them no. I don't want to let them down. It's okay to let your values guide you and be like, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing. This just doesn't feel in alignment for me right now. I think it can also be a guide there to help you be like, no, I'm feeling angsty about this because it just doesn't align with my values and what I connect to. And this doesn't feel like it honors that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
and that's the thing. If you have if you have a guideline set for you for anything, whether it's vacation or whether it's your me money or whether it's something else like what you and your husband or partner are allowed to spend uh on a meal together or monthly or whatever it
Mhm.
is, it gives you that boundary. So we're talking about like
Yeah.
saying no to something. A boundary helps you say no a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think we underestimate the power of that, of just kind of having that roadmap, having that guide, that compass to kind of guide those decisions. And that really connects to also expectations. And you touched on this earlier. This was a pivotal point for you and your husband when you started communicating your expectations instead of just being annoyed that he didn't understand how much he was spending. I think so many times with communications and boundaries, we have them filtering through our head, but sometimes we forget people are not mind readers. So, us continuing to be irritated about it, and money can cause a lot of tension. It's one of the high stress factors in relationships, whether it's marriage, whether it's dividing the estate and talking about mom and dad's money between siblings. And there's money and family can get really strife, but the one of the key factors that I think we tell ourselves a lot of stories of how scary or hard it's going to be actually ends up being so much better when we communicate our expectations, communicate our healthy boundaries, let people know what we're thinking, what we expect. Also, the expectations that have been handed over to us that maybe don't align with who we are anymore. So, is that something that you work with people on as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a line between being a therapist and being just a
Yeah,
coach, right?
for sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
a therapist is going to help you more dig into the story and the why and uncover all that
Yeah.
back stuff. Like as a coach, like I
Yeah.
said, my job is to help you move forward.
Yeah.
And we might need to figure out what caused some of the old habits. And there are times when I refer people to therapists, and
Yeah.
I say you need more than I can offer you at this point because there's a lot more
Sure.
going on. And the one thing that I want to say is that there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame,
Yeah.
no judgment. Like you you are a person and you matter and everybody's got their stuff, right? So
Mhm.
just keep that in mind too. Like um it, it's just the idea that you're showing up and figuring it out, that's what really matters.
Yeah. And that goes beautifully into embracing our layers. We all have a story. We all have decisions we've made that we don't love, that we wish we could take back, do differently, all those things. That a lot of times comes up around money. I love what you say about we're going to help you move forward. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you if I need to refer you to someone else to dive a little deeper and get curious and unpack and unlearn some of these habits that got you here, but we're moving forward and we're not doing it with shame and fear and embarrassment. We're doing it by empowering you and giving you a resource and being proactive. Um, talk to me about your own layers journey and how that unfolded for you, that realization of, I can stay stuck here or I can utilize these resources and learn and do better. Because, we talked about earlier that not saving is, well, yeah, there's all things we could have done better along the way. And also staying stuck there. And I always talk about curiosity over judgment. When you feel like you're starting to judge a layer or a decision or something, okay, bring curiosity and meet yourself where you were at that point in your life and start looking at what you were surrounded by, what you know. Um, so talk to me about your own layers journey with this and how you, and you've talked to this a lot, but maybe kind of wrap up how you help other people with their layers.
Right. So I think part of what makes me unique is that I've lived many different versions of money.
Mm,
I grew up I knew my parents lived paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have an allowance and have assigned chores. When I needed money, I just said, "Hey, can I do these jobs? And this is what I think they pay," and I would negotiate, which probably has a
mhm.
lot to do with my entrepreneurship now.
Yeah.
And then I became a single mom at 16, and
Mm,
was like balancing my checkbook and filing taxes before I was old enough to vote. Again, though,
wow.
in survival mode, right? Then
Yeah.
yeah, I was in survival mode from the very beginning. So then I was married and I am a mother of 3. We lived in a nice suburban home, and I was able to stay at home, and be a stay-at-home mom, luckily enough to have that, but we were living paycheck to paycheck. There was not savings going
Yeah.
on. Then we
Yeah.
had money and I lived in a nice home and I spent money freely and didn't pay any attention to it. And then I got divorced, and then I
Mm,
had to start all over again and figure it out and
wow.
make some really hard decisions, like to quit a job and take out a loan and go back to school at 48. Um, you know, Hard decisions.
Yeah.
And, um, I'm still making hard decisions. I'm still
Hmm.
recovering from that. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of the layers of me that set me apart, that I can meet people where they are because I've lived a lot of different
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. That relatable piece is like, listen, if someone comes to you, like, listen, I have been there. You can do this. I mean, I think that's so much, if people just have that, women can have that belief that they have choice, that they're smart enough, that they've got the ability. I think you hear some, because of the narratives too, we've heard about women and numbers and math over the years. A lot of women will really, and we're starting to see shifts in that, but still they come in with these ideas about themselves and math and money because of the narratives they'd heard from family and parents and growing up. It's like, no, 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 you're as capable as anybody else. Yes, we have all things that we are more naturally drawn to, but we can take the fear out of this. We can lay this out in a way. I mean, I think your me money strategy is brilliant because it is so easily relatable and connectable, and it's not complicated. Like it's like, oh, okay. Um, but when they feel like, oh, she gets me, that is such a powerful connector too, and opens the door to so many. But yeah, that moving forward piece and not getting stuck and just realizing like, well, this is all a journey for all of us.
Yeah.
But we've got resources and a map here that can help keep you in line. And if you step out of line, go back to it and have it help you, get back in line. Um, this next part, this living out feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers. I feel like you really do that yourself with what you've learned. You're helping others do that now. You've talked about already how it's impacted not only how you feel and your relationship with yourself and the knowledge you have, but also how it's impacted your relationships and that connect points, for where are at now in your marriage. But I think also what you've learned over the years from past ones. So, any last things you'd like to say about that living out feel piece and how it's impacted you from where you used to be to where you are now?
I think if I had anything to say about it, it would be, the aha moments are when you realize that you're stuck, but that being stuck really just means you're disconnected from yourself, and that you have to
Mm,
reconnect with yourself to move forward.
yeah. Yeah. That's people, if you didn't learn anything else today, write that down because that's going to connect you to everything else you need to
Yeah.
know. Thank you. That is so good. All right. As we wind down here, tell me 5 activities that nourish you.
Oh gosh. Okay. Um, Singing. I love singing. Whether it's in my car or karaoke or whatever, I love singing. Um, I would say being in the sunshine. So
Mm,
That would be one thing. Nature walks, golfing, and I need one more. Right? That was 4?
Yeah.
Um, Maybe reading. I like learning and
Mm,
reading.
yeah. Yeah, I think, and I think anytime you are someone who has resources and shares, there's a natural curiosity and learning that comes with that because you always want to be like, what else can I offer, not only myself, but to these other people? So thank you for that. 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
Oh gosh. Happy, safe, calm, secure, healthy.
Mm. All right. Linda, any last final thoughts you'd like, one final thought you'd like to leave with our listeners, and then share with people where they can find you and follow you. And then this will all be on our resources page at embracinglayers.com as well.
Sure. I would say my final thought is when you think about money, it seems very overwhelming, but you don't have to do everything all at once. Just start
Mm,
small. Whatever that is for
yeah.
you. It could be me money, it could be just looking at what the transactions in your account on a monthly basis. It could be anything. Start small. You don't have to tackle it all
Mhm.
at once. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
And I have a money personality quiz that people can take to help uncover their money
Mm,
personality and understand how that works for them. It's on my
okay.
website. So my website is lindagriz.com,
Okay.
LINDAGRIZ.com. So they can find that there and then they can contact me there or find my socials or whatever. Everything is there.
Okay, sounds great. That'll, like I said, all be on our resources page at embracinglayers.com. Thank you so much for being with me today. So much helpful information. Thank you for sharing your story. I think it's going to be so relatable for so many women and be like, oh, she's got resources and she gets me. Because I think sometimes even with women that are in finances, it seems like, oh my gosh, they've got it all together. They've never messed up. They just know what to do. And that's not the case most of the time. Most of us got here based on what we learned from our own story, what helped us. I'm like, wait a minute, that can help other people too. So thank you so much for offering these resources and how you show up in the world and being here with me today to share all of this. Remember, women, you are worthy, you are valuable, and you get to choose. And that especially includes in your finances. There's tools out there, there's resources, there's ways to be empowered, there's ways to be informed. It doesn't have to be scary or fearful. When you have a plan and you know what you have, you can create a plan from there and you can move forward from there. And we've got resources there to help you. Linda's one of our latest ones. We're so grateful to offer these to you. Take good care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time here on the Field Podcast. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of the Feel Podcast. If you would like more information on how you can apply these talking points that I share with our guests in each episode to your own life, really utilize this Feel framework, go to embracinglayers.com, fill out our contact form, and let's set up a free 30-minute consultation to talk about how you can start living your most authentic, organic, healthy, feel fueled life. Thanks again for being with us today. We'll be back to you soon with another episode here on the Feel Podcast.